You know, if you that's right. If you just look back at the video, I think I did it yesterday. It said me and YouTube, we need time off, away from each other. We need to separate. We need to just, we just need time, to miss each other. So I'm weaning off. Now I look like a liar because now I'm just telling stories. But see, my stories are true stories. And so here goes another one. Alright, so I was about, 21 now? I'm 21 years old. I have a degree with carpentry. I have a 1.5 years experience. And I always work like somebody was watching me. And the truth is, they were. So I started running circles around the employees that were getting paid $18 an hour, and I was getting paid $7.50. And then at 9, like when I started doing the crown molding, because I would ask these clowns, like, yo, show me how to do that crown molding. Like, well, maybe next time, something. We don't have time to do it. We gotta get the house done. Like, all right. So I waited. Like, I see how they're doing it. All right. I waited until they took a break. Then I hopped in the room. I started chopping up the crown molding, because you gotta, when you cut crown molding, you gotta flip it upside down and turn it on 45 and cut it. You can either cope it or you can miter it, glue it and miter it. But it works better, like in a square room, you cut one side and the other side a straight length, and then the left and right side, you double cope it. You back cut it on a 45 and then you cope it with a coping saw. So I started to do that. And don't you know, it was perfect timing. My boss walked in. He's like, "What are you doing, Robin?" Crown molding. Who showed you how to do that? Nobody. I did. He's like, it's pretty impressive. I got to tell you. Well, why don't we give you like $9 an hour now? Like, that's fine. It's cool. But see, Barry's this big old hillbilly, man. He takes no shit from nobody, and he's just big 6'8" hillbilly. I love him to death, though, man. I still do work with him here and there. Recently, for Toll Brothers, that's pretty much who he works for. But when the land comes to a rest, I'm gonna make sure he's taken care of. Everybody that's ever looked out for me in my life, you get front row. You get the top seat. You get to be exalted, You get to be exalted in my eyes, in my heart. Whatever I have is yours. So, and then the people that kind of had doubt and mocking and scoffing and giving me a hard time, I'm still going to help you out too. But you just don't get the premier seats. So one thing advice I can give people is this: if you are working with whatever you're doing, just do it as if you're being evaluated, because you are anyway. I didn't know that at the time. I literally have been being watched, but I didn't understand that it was that. Now, I always understood God was watching you, but I didn't know that rural eyes were. So the right person at the right time, seeing the work, and then it gave me an opportunity, which now nothing was handed to me, all right? So this is what I'm getting out of my whole life story here. I don't know why I'm deciding to tell it now, but why not? I'll do like a brief synopsis of the whole thing, and maybe if something, later on I go in details about something, but I guess I just want my subs to know how I grew up. And then for the people that all my subs, good or bad, just want you to know how I grew up. And then you can continue to judge people, for the way they grew up and for what they're doing and saying now. Or you can not judge not, lest you be judged, right? Because the bottom line is, I didn't ask for this YouTube thing. I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for social media. I did not expect to be on social media. And oh my God, I suffered through some of Jonathan Kleck early. I just did. Oh, man, that guy is just something else, man. I told the Lord one time, I'm like, no, I'm not warning. No, Lord. And he said, Jonathan, read the Bible that's on the table. And I'm like, oh, okay. What? And I went and read Ezekiel 33:33, and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, Lord. You know, because like my name's like Jonathan, like Jonah. Like Jonah. Man, he's a good actor. I'm telling you, he irritates me. Only for a split second. It's like a natural irritation, like, okay. Alright, I get it. I understand. You were promised something too there, Johnny boy. My neighbors, they're my neighbors. There's a couple of them. Kid's cool. You know, the kid that lives there. So work like you're being watched, you know, because you are anyway. And so that opportunity, that gave me an opportunity to fund. See, here's the thing. I started to make really good money as a young man, right? And then that's why I started to buy all kinds of clothes. When I bought a vehicle, I would always hook it up. I would put a nice set of wheels in there. I'd spend money on it. I would just put ground effect kits on it, paint it, whatever. I would just do something that's different. And because I went from being poor to not having anything, and then the door was there. Okay, the door was like this. When I met Barry, he was the subcontractor for the guy that worked for Toll Brothers, and then we were all his employees. So Barry would always run circles around everybody. He would always be busting on people how slow they are. He never picked on me though. And this is the big old 6'8", 275-pound hillbilly that takes no shit from anybody. But he would never rip on me about anything because I did my job. Matter of fact, he would use me as an example to point out to them how slow they were. So naturally, he already created my enemies in my own workplace because of that, you know, because he's using me as an example to them to make them feel like a slacker, like they are, because they were slackers. So the door, like this is Barry, right? Here's the door, and then the handle is right there. The handle is up to you whether you want to open the door or not. You are the one that can open doors, and you are the one that can shut doors behind yourself, not to anybody else, to you. So that door is opened up. I freaking flew through that door. I'm like, yeah, let me go. But before I went to work for him, I got fired from that job. You know why? Because I got charged for stealing something from the job, because I was still a thief. It was from a house that I got charged with, and I stole something, and then it's like, and then the boss, man, he had to fire me. This was after a year and a half. I was making $9 an hour. Or was it a year? I think it was a year. And then I took a half year off. So when I got out of school, I was 19 going into 20 years old. Because it was a summer. I turned 20, June 28th, so I got out right before. So I graduated 19 from the 2-year junior college, but I didn't go to high school ever. I didn't even step a foot in high school. But I got the GED. The only way I got the GED was from one person saying one thing to me, and I just so happened to get lucky to be poor to get the scholarship to go to the school. Another door was there. I opened it, ran straight through. Just kept going through doors. Nothing was handed to me ever, except for now. It's going to be handed to me. Now it will be, but before that, nothing. Not a damn thing. Everything was a struggle. So that door opened up 6 months after, because Barry knew that I stole. He knew that I was a thief. But man, he was looking past my criminal activity because he's seen what my hands can do with the work, the amount of time that it gets done. And so I don't know if I called him finally. I think I did, because out of shame, because he did give me his number before I got fired. He kind of knew I was getting fired. That's when he came to me and said, look, if you want to make real money, just give me a call. That's what happened. And then I called him like 6 months later because of the shame that I had, because, getting fired for being a thief. Then he brought me on and he's like, all right, look. He's like, look, you weren't making freaking shit anyway. And I don't blame you for stealing. It's like he almost was making an excuse for it. But, not excuse, but just understanding, like, you're not really making money. But that wasn't my reason. I stole because I was an idiot still stealing, because I was addicted to, not addicted per se, but that was in my nature to steal because of the way I grew up. So the stealing was embedded in me until I went to jail for good when I was 28 years old. When I got out when I was 30, that's when it was no more thievery for me. So I'm 43 now, so it's 13 years ago. 15 years ago when I got locked up. For the year and a half. In 2006, I got locked up October 28th, 2006, and I stayed for a year and a half and got out March 19th of 2008. I got out. And I didn't know when I was getting out. And when I went to jail, I had 5 counts of aggravated assault on 5 police, F felony 1. And they really literally beat my ass. However, that's another story that I'll probably tell. So I didn't know when I was getting out because of all the charges and the burglaries that I had, because I was a thief. Like I said, I admitted it. I did my time. I did my crime. I did my time. I admit it. God forgave me for it because I repented while I was in jail so I can stop living in hell. Because when I got out, I was living in heaven. And I still am. Even more so now. Even now that we're in such complete, absolute living hell, disasters going to happen all over the place. Every time I hear something like that, heaven just keeps getting closer and closer and closer, and I keep stepping into it more and more and more and more, because it's a mindset. Because I know it's all fake, the stories that are going on in the world. I know that. Do you know that? Most of yous do. Some of yous don't. Some of the hating subscribers don't know that. But that's the 33-degree Mason secret. It's all a lie. So when Barry answered the phone, he's like, yeah, I got to work for you, but I can only pay you $15 an hour. I'm like, only? What? I'm like, what? That's like, okay, that's like twice the amount that I was making. And then it only took me about 6 months after that, and because he's seen the consistency, and he told me this later on, he's like, I seen a 21-year-old kid that has desire and the ability to grasp. That's what he said. The ability to grasp. Just grasp. So he's seen the ability to grasp, and I was doing interior trim for Toll Brothers. So what it consists of is you go in, the house is all sheetrock, and the trim's there. The doors, the baseboard, the casing, crown molding, OG molding, shoe molding, whatever it is you install. So I would just fly through it and just install it like it's nothing. And I made him think to himself, like, man, I am not paying him enough. Because that's what he thought. So he made me his partner. So I was about 22. That's what it was, about, so 19, when I got 19, 20, then 21, up to 21, then I got fired, half a year. So around 22, after 6 months, 22 years, there you go. So I was 22 years old, and I started rolling in like 2,000 hours a week, just by working, just by doing something that's so easy to do, and it was fun to do it because I know I'm doing it super fast, and And the faster you do it, the more money you make. So it was like a no-brainer. And this work was consistent. So I just kept doing that. And then that's when I was able to have the money, and I started buying things that I wanted to buy because I earned it. You know, I worked with my hands. Nobody gave me anything. They showed me doors, but look, I can show you guys doors too. It's up to you to open or close the door. You can either open that door or just look at it, or the door is opened up and then you're the one that shuts it, and there's no other door in front of you to open up. You don't shut the door behind you until you see that the next door in front of you is open. You can open up the door. When you see it shut, open it up and go through the experience. Do not shut the door until you see the other door in front of you. Then you can shut that door, open up another one, and then keep going. So nothing ever was handed to me. I worked from 20 till now. So for 23 years, I worked pretty much consistently, well, minus the 1.5 years in jail, of course. So for 21-ish years, I worked straight through. 2008 was a slow year. 2008. Did I say 2008? Did I go to jail 2006? Hold on. No, 2008 was a slow year. I'm sorry. I got out of jail 2006. 2004 is when I went to jail, October 31st, October 28th. October 28th. Yeah. It was October 28th that I went to jail, 2004. And then I was in jail for those 3 days because I was withdrawing from Xanax and I was just sleeping, like in a coma. And then I talked to my son on the phone, and that's when I broke down. It was October 31st, 2004 is the day that I fully repented, and I remember it vividly. So I got out of jail March 19th of 2006. That's what it is. And then at the same time, the guy I work for now, you know, the Philadelphia Mafia boss, David Perlman, I was working for him in 2004, and I also stole his appliances out of one of the houses that I was trimming. Did I need to steal it? No, didn't need to. Was making 2,000 hours a week, but because I was still a criminal, I thought, you know what, and my cousin was trying to get me to get these appliances. He wound up snitching on me. That's another story. But my boss now, the one that I stole from, forgave me for what I did. Because when I was in jail, I wrote him a letter and I apologized for what I did. I told him what I did. He didn't want to believe that it was me. He knew it was, but he didn't want to believe it. He was very disappointed. But I wrote him a letter and apologized, say I'll pay for my damages when I get out, and I'm sorry, and you know, I'm already doing all these other charges, so I will understand if you want to press charges on me because I'm already here. He didn't press charges on me. So when I got out of jail, I called him up a few months afterwards, probably about 6 months, same thing. Here, you want a job? Oh. Wasn't making that much money, but he gave me a job. So, and here I am now, working for him, the same one that forgave me when I got out of jail. Because of my mindset was, let me make amends with everybody. I'm sorry for what I did. I am a piece of shit. Alright, so this is my life up until 28 years old. Just going in every direction, whichever way, learning the hard way. That's how I live my life, learning the hard way. Dealing with things, suffering through it, and then greatly appreciating life now because of it. I wouldn't want any other way for it to have happened the way it did. So I'm 22-ish. So I go to jail when I'm 28. So I got like 6 years of just enjoying working every day. I enjoyed that work because it was like camaraderie. Like, I hired my brothers. I hired my brother Mike. This is when Michael really started to help me, you know. My brother Michael, and William. I would hire both of them, and it's funny because I'm their little brother, and they had a tough time with that for a while. Like, they just had a tough time with taking orders from me, and I'm like, look, man, just do the freaking job. You want to get paid or not? But I would piecework everything. I would say, like, all right, look, $100 to run the baseboard for the floor baseboard. I enjoyed giving that 100 hours because I can hurry up, hang the doors, trim them, do the windows, crown mold, and whatever. And then the baseboard's the last thing. And just, here's $100. I get to pack my stuff and roll out, and they do it. So with me taking on that job, becoming a subcontractor, I learned how to talk to people that way, with like people, job sites, and then learning how to kind of tell people what to do, and just coming up from nothing and being like, all right, here, you're my older brother, but I need you to go do this. You know what I mean? They had a tough time with it for a while. They admitted it. I had fired them a couple times. I've hired my cousins. I hired my best friends. There was times where I would have like four people working for me, just helping me make money, and then I'm giving them a job because they literally didn't have a job. So I'm helping them make good money. I'm making good money. I'm providing work. I opened up the door that can provide more work for other people. So that's how I've been. That's how I am. That's who I am. If I get advantage on something, then I'm going to share that advantage that I just got. When I learn how to shut off, tune down the whispers and click switch, which is recently this year, I'm telling you, it's this year is when I finally got it, because it flicked on like a switch. So now I'm trying to help people understand how you do it, because it took me all my life to finally figure it out. If I can help you figure it out in 2 weeks, then fine. If you don't have to live in hell like I did, fine. Why should you? Why do people have to live through the same hell that I did? You don't. My information's free. Here, I received it freely. So here, you can have it freely. So I provided for people. Every time I go to my pop's house, I would always buy the case of beer. I'd be glad to buy the case of beer. We would sit outside, me, Karen, my dad, my brothers, in Kensington on East Street. It's where my pop wanted to live. And at that time, I was, well, let's see, that was, my son was 2.5 when I went to jail at 28, so I was 25.5. I might skip ahead a little bit, but what story should I come first? My cat Lucky, I found him in Kensington. I was leaning up against my car, and he walked underneath of my legs and was like, meow. Little orange, raggedy cat with fleas, probably 6 weeks old, maybe, not even. I never had an animal in my life to take care of. I looked down, I said, this cat's mine. And that was a year before my son was born. So maybe, actually, I was probably 23.5. It was 24.5, because I was with my kid's mom for a while. But then here's the story I wanted to say about Barry. All right, this is something I did for Barry, the guy that showed me the door. Okay, that's all he did was showed me the door. You can bring the horse water, but you can't make him drink it. I drank that water. So he showed me the door, and he made me his partner. So I had me, my two brothers, my cousin Bobby was working with us, and everything was running smooth for about a good year. He had his son and his daughter working for him downstairs. I would do the upstairs. I would always run the foyer crown, climb the ladder, do the ladder work, the windows, and then he wound up getting sick. He had double pneumonia, and so his wife calls me and says he's sick, and they're like double pneumonia. It's bad. So I remember that time. I'm like shit, man, because he's doing the downstairs. It's me and my two brothers, my cousin, and I'm like, look, if he If he wants to let me use his truck, I'll carry the crew. I'll do what I can to keep it going. And at the time, he had this. So it was 2000 and what year was it? I don't know. Well, my son was born in 2002, so it was 2001. It was around, yeah, because I remember he used to say when 2009, when 1999 comes around and the year 2000, that all the computers are going to shut down. Remember that? He was a conspiracy theorist. He told me that martial law was going to take over. I was nervous as all hell that the computers were going to shut down. Yep, I bought a Honda generator. I was prepared. So I remember that happening in the year 2000, and then so the next year he bought brand new 1999 Chevy Silverado. It was blue. It was crew cab, right? The big back doors and extended cab. That was a beast, and a dually. So that was a bad truck, man. And so I'm like, let me the truck, because he had all the tools, the whole setup. I can hold tools for a whole crew. So his wife gave me the keys of the truck. I took it. Man, I was pimping in that thing. That was a sweet truck. At that, being 22 years old, driving that thing, it's nice. So what happened was he had the double pneumonia, and he wound up being in the hospital for a long time, and then he was sick for about 2 months straight. So I said, if he lends me the truck, I'll continue the crew. All right, and then when I got paid for the whole 2 months, probably made, let's see, so it was about $4,000 a month. I mean, a week between us. We split it, something like that. I mean, a week, yeah. So 4, 8, 16, 16,000. Probably around at least 20, 25,000, I think I made altogether. I split it with him. I'm a 22-year-old kid who has the ability to grasp. I have the ability to love. It's just the way I show it is different than other people can perceive it. My way of showing him love and appreciation for what he did for me was to take on the crew, which was also his daughter and his son, and also me, my brother, my brother Mike, William, and Bobby, my cousin. We all did the house. I paid them, and then with the rest that was left over, I split it with Barry to show my gratitude for what he did for me. And don't you know that he will never forget that? That is a lifetime, just tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for a human being. And I was, it's kind of emotional. His wife was crying because I handed her a check and I told her what I was going to do from this point on. And I think it was a fairly decent thing to do for another man that's down and out. So karma, when it comes back around, it's good. I don't have to worry about oh man, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that, That's why you need to repent for the things that you've done now. Because if not, you might be thrown into the lake of fire when you're going to burn. And on top of that, Jonathan Clegg told you that scorpions are going to come from the bottomless pit when the fifth trumpet begins to sound. Even though it already sounded and it's already past tense, like 8 years ago. But, for somebody that has all this spiritual knowledge and you want to take that literal, you fraud, you. So once he came back to work, he had a really good attitude, and he used to be angry about a lot of things. It seems like he simmered down, man. You know what I mean? He stopped yelling at people so much. I think it changed his life, that double pneumonia. And then somebody actually showed him love, you know what I mean? Because he kind of grew up the way I did too, by doing his own thing, getting locked up and whatever. He was a badass, just big tall hillbilly guy, big bully. I wasn't a bully. I got picked on. I never fought anybody though. I never had to. I turned the other cheek when I was younger. So So now I'm with my kid's mom, right? And I remember that at the time that I had his dually, I pulled up my pop's house. She got us a cigarette. Got ready to limit. Yo, what are you doing? It's like, what? Like, get out of here with that cigarette. You know what I mean? I'm showing respect. Like, don't smoke in here. Are you crazy? Jezebel did not want to hear it. Oh my God. This was before my son was even born. She didn't like that, you know? She didn't like that I told her not to smoke a cigarette in somebody else's truck. So when we got out of the truck, she started all this Jezebel stuff, right? And then it got so blown out of proportion. She called her dad, my son's pop-up, and he's cool too. You know, everybody's good people, good-hearted people. They're kind of thrown off, but really good in the heart. He came out, like, she told him some things, man, just got him mad. He came out, he started swinging at me. He's like, he swung. I'm like, and he fell on the ground. Like, yeah, I could have kicked him or whatever. I'm like, come on, man, what are you doing, man? Your daughter's just freaking nuts. I told her not to smoke a cigarette in the truck, and you're gonna swing at me for that? It's just the way it is, man. So, before this video ends, I was with my kid's mom for quite a few years before my son was born. He became born when I kicked her out of my house, and I was done with her, and then all of a sudden she got pregnant. Oh, great. And that was 2002, 2001-ish when she told me. And then I remember my brother asked me, he's like, what are you going to do? Because she's pregnant? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm going to have a son. Oh, because people talk about abortions. No, man. I knew I was going to have a son. I said he was going to be a boy. So that's when my prophecy started coming true. I started predicting that I would have a son, and I did. And I was going to name him Robin Anthony, but then she didn't want another little me named Robin, because she probably already knew that we were not going to last. So she didn't want to have to call my son Robin, you know what I mean? And so I dealt with her. Man, that's a whole nother story. You want to talk about some court battles there, Jonathan Clay? Oh, he went to court for 3 children. Oh, man. Okay, Christ, you're not talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, are you, Daniel? Not at all, right? So, if Satan had a daughter, her name would be my son's mother. But man, did I learn how to deal with Satan by being with her. I did. Tremendous.